Well, the first game of Erik ten Hag as a permanent manager for Manchester United that was competitive saw him lose to Brighton by 2-1. The only difference is that by then, Graham Potter, the formerly sacked manager of Chelsea, was in terms of handling the management of Brighton. But this time around, it's De Zerbi, a manager who came in from Shakhtar Donetsk and is going ahead to transform that side of Brighton, and it's really doing wonders, almost into Europe competing positions in the league, and they are doing lots of things to really see themselves go to the FA Cup finale. And welcome to United Matters channel. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rock and David. Brighton versus Manchester United is the game we are here to preview. FA Cup semi-final being played at Wembley tomorrow at 18:30 hours. That's when the game of football is going to be played then. So as it stands right now, United comes into this game of football after being beaten and knocked out of the UEFA Europa League by a team known as Sevilla. We swallowed 3 goals. So having swallowed 3 goals, obviously all of the 3 were mistakes, and it was all about poor defending, and that really puts us in a situation of having really huge doubts on whether we can go at Wembley and really knock out Brighton. It's the second time we are playing at Wembley this season. Remember the first time we played in the finale of the Carabao Cup and we won 2-0 against Newcastle. Then there comes Brighton, who in their recent game in the league, they beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge by 2-1. But they are coming in this game with lots of injuries, and Evan Ferguson, one of the wonder talents that have been talked about this season, is really out and injured. The pair has been ruled out with Joel Veldman by the manager of Brighton, that is De Zerbi. Then there is Jakub Moder is also out. Lamptey is also out. Adam Lallana is out. Semiento is also out, and Jason Staley, the goalkeeper, is also out with a knock. But Levi Colwill, that left back of Brighton, who was loaned there by Chelsea, is coming back and is expected to do the needful. Now that means Danny Welbeck is going to come in through and really lead the line in the position of Ferguson, and Pascal Gross is going to be played as a right back. Then Julio Ensco is going to come in to really do the needful and obviously play in the midfield, who scored a winner against a side known as Chelsea, the Rocket. He pulled the trigger from around like 30 yards and it hit in the back of the net. For Manchester United, players that are really doubtful are Anton Martial. Harry Maguire injured him in that second goal that we conceded. Then we don't know what report is going to come in from Erik ten Hag, but I think later today we'll be letting you know which players have traveled to Wembley. Then Garnacho, he's out. Don't expect him to be into this game of football, but Martial is doubtful. He might be in or out. Lisandro Martinez, Rafael Varane, all out. Donny van Beek is also out. So those are the players that we are not going to be having, but we are having a boost return of Bruno Fernandes, who never played away in Sevilla and is going to be playing in this beautiful game of football. And the rest of the players are really fit to do the needful. Harry Maguire is suspended. He's not going to be part of this fixture as we play in the semi-final against Brighton at Wembley. So that is what we are having as far as United is concerned. And I think you now know the shape of the players that we are really having and how we might find ourselves facing a team known as Brighton. But Ten Hag has always talked of a bounce back, and I think this is the best time for us to bounce back and obviously knock out Brighton. Brighton have gone ahead to play at Wembley 5 times in, I think, the FA Cup, but they found themselves losing 4 and drawing 1 in their history. And I think United has gone ahead to register lots of successes at Wembley. I think few times we've won at Wembley and not won. That's it. So this time around, we last played in the semi-final of the FA Cup under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and we are knocked out by Chelsea. That game ended 4-1 in favor of Chelsea, and I remember it was Bruno Fernandes who scored the only penalty that United got. We saw a head collusion of Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire. Then Eric Bailly got off the field of play. United came in through with a system of 3-5-2. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a pragmatic manager, something that I believe Erik Ten Hag is not going to come in for when you're playing Brighton. I think he's going to go on and really attack Brighton. But he can surprise us and leave the ball to Brighton and capitalize onto the pace of Marcus Rashford and Anthony, because he can leave the ball to Brighton and he knows that we are going to really put up a very tough press, such that you win those balls. After winning those balls, we'll be having decent players in the midfield like Casemiro's, Eriksson, Bruno Fernandes, or Sabitzer. They are good at passing that ball. So we really base all our attacks onto what we call transitions, counter-attacks, hitting them on the break and making them hard to go through our press, So I think Brighton might be having more of the ball, and Ten Hag might go ahead and really capitalize onto United really hitting them on the break and obviously scoring those goals, because Brighton is really a very good footballing team. They wouldn't like to surrender possession, and I don't know whether Erik Ten Hag would also like to go on and really face them head to head. Having played on Thursday, Brighton have spent a week without playing. They are really a very hard team to face right now because they are fresh. And for us, we played on Thursday, we played on Sunday too. That really puts us in a situation of at least being tired, But I know Ten Hag knows what it means and how to approach this game of football, because we are now left with only 2 competitions, and after playing this final, that means after playing this semi-final, that means we will be going to play another game in the FA Cup on the 3rd of June. That is, if at all we knock out Brighton. That's when the final of the FA Cup is going to be played. Now, if you had gone through the UEFA Europa League, we had more 2 games to play, so that is really hard. So I think it's going to help us to concentrate more onto the Premier League and the FA Cup. But I think Ten Hag is going to go head-to-head with De Zerbi, and I think we might see a game where possession is going to be shared, and whichever team capitalizes on really scoring is really going to put itself in a situation of really get the chances they deserve. And lastly, it's all going to be about who can keep it tight at the back, because Brighton have really a very good attacking side. Mitoma is good, Danny Welbeck, they can cause lots of havoc. Caicedo in the midfield, McAllister, they are really a very good team. So I think we need to capitalize onto that and do the needful and obviously cause them a lot of havoc at the Wembley Stadium. Let's go to the predicted starting 11 of United as we break this down. The system is obviously 4-2-3-1, 4 defenders, a double pivot, 3 attack midfielders, and 1 center forward. I think that's what Erik Ten Hag is going to go for. Having had a very bad game at Sevilla, according to me and others, but I think the third one made it look worse. But for the first one, I don't blame him, because Harry Maguire requested for that ball, and Harry Maguire was really swamped by the press of Sevilla players, and he almost gave away that ball, and it costed us. That's it. Now, I think again David De Gea comes in goal, because Ten Hag told us that he's a goalkeeper and he has the most clean sheets in the Premier League. That's it. So David De Gea is reporting on duty again tomorrow and is going to start in goal. One thing I've loved about him is that he has the bravery to do that pass that he did to Maguire, And Aaron Ramsdale yesterday tried it and just gifted it to the opponent. But for David De Gea, he's perfecting putting out that pass, because in the game of Barcelona at Old Trafford, he gave it out to the opponent, that is Sergio Roberto. But this time around, I've seen him do that perfect pass in between the 2 center forwards or the press of the opposition team on very many occasions. Lisandro Martinez, Rafael Varane, even Harry Maguire, who really bottled it up. And I think he's really getting there slowly by slowly. So I think he's going to start in goal, and I know he's going to be pivotal, because Brighton is a team that's going to attack us left, right, and center. They don't sit back. They don't respect any opponent. They'll come all full force to really cause havoc to our team. Then, let's go to the right back. I think amidst him having a very hard spell at Sevilla, and he was taken off at half-time, that is Aaron Bissaka, I think the manager is going to bring him back. He's going to bring him back to deal with Mitoma. Mitoma is one of the left attacking midfielders in the Premier League that is really most gifted, according to me. He's really good, and how do you silence him? put Aaron Bissaka, to me, the best defender when it comes to 1v1 situations into that team. And obviously, make it hard for him to really go past him. And if at all you can really kill off Mitoma, then you can really do the needful and obviously stop the flow of attack of Brighton off the left attacking side of the midfield. Remember, they're also having an overlapping left back known as Estupian. He is really good, who really comes in through and really overlaps from that side and joins Mitoma, and they cause havoc to the teams they're really facing. With me, I believe Bissaka is going to be played as a right back. Then left back, I believe Tyrell Malacia is still under punishment for what he did, and I think the manager is going to go in for Diego Dello. He's going to go in for Diego Dello as a left back for the team of Manchester United. And I think Malacia will return when you're playing Tottenham Hotspur, and he might not even return because Luke Shaw might be played as a left back, and obviously Maguire might return into action onto that day. So I think Diego Dello is going to be played as a left back for Manchester United, and we've seen that whenever he plays there, he really looks great. And he got his first goal in the Premier League for United while playing that position against Nottingham. Then the central defense, on the right side of the central defense, I think, to me, he was my man of the match in the game we played against Sevilla away that we lost 3-0. That is Lindelof. He had a very decent game, and I think he's really going to find himself in a position of really playing there. So on the left side of central defense, I think it's going to be Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw is going to be played there, and I think he got some good 45 minutes in his legs, though I saw him really limping. So I am doubtful, unless otherwise I get a confirmation from Erik ten Hag, but you might find ourselves not having Luke Shaw in that game, and that will be very, very crazy. But I think ten Hag will do all what is possible to see to it that he plays Luke Shaw into the left side of the central defense. Then the midfield, obviously, you know how the pivot is going to look. It's going to be Casemiro, and Eriksson. They're going to play into that position, though they lost the midfield battle when they're playing to Sevilla away from home. The crowd was hostile, and the experience never really helped us. But this time around, I think they're going to be so much pivotal. They are fresh, and I think this is the game they're supposed to go on and do the needful. Now, Bruno Fernandes is returning from injury, and we expect him to play as a central attack midfielder. Some would have liked Bruno Fernandes to play in the double pivot with Casemiro and then Sabitzer start, but I think it's better to rest Sabitzer a little bit, I think it's better to rest Sabitzer a little bit and you start Bruno Fernandes. Then Sabitzer can be really that impactful substitute you get from the bench. So I think he's really going to enjoy this, and that midfield has always gone ahead to win us very many games. I think we've only lost all 2 or 3 games when you're really having those 3 playing together. So that is Casemiro, Eriksson, and Bruno Fernandes. So I expect that midfield 3 to play like that. Then Anthony, who blows hot and cold, expect him to start onto the right attacking side of the midfield, because when you look at how he played at Sevilla, when you look at how he played at Old Trafford against Everton, though he never scored, but he really had a very good game. Then he went ahead and really gave us another good game against Sevilla, though he never scored. Then against Nottingham Forest was even the man of the match. He scored 1 and created 1. We thought that the consistency is building, and we expected some good performances coming in from him down in Sevilla, but never showed up. But I won't blame him a lot for the game of Sevilla away, because none of the players that really featured in that game put out what we call a standout performance. The entire team looked bad. We are even bang average. So I expect him to raise up to the occasion tomorrow to really cause a lot of havoc to Estupian, to see to it that he doesn't obviously cause havoc, to see to it that Anthony causes a lot of havoc into that right final third of Brighton. Then the left side, I think it's going to be Jadon Sancho. He's going to be played as a left attacking midfielder, though he never had a good spell against Sevilla away from home. But I won't blame any player there, because no player really had a very good game. I think the person that really had a game close to good was Victor Lindelof, but the rest really had horrible games. Now, who is leading the line? Big question. Who is leading the line? I think it's going to be Marcus Rashford. Even if Martial travels with the team, Ten Hag is going to risk him to see to it that he really doesn't see him really cost himself as a player because Harry Maguire injured him, and he believes that he should handle him more better because he has gone ahead to start 3 games in a row without Marcus Rashford, meaning that he should be really left there to play some bit of rest on the bench. Then he might bring him on as an impactful substitute, because if at all you are having Sabitzer, Anton Martial on the bench, at least, and Fred, you're really having some good impactful players on the bench of Manchester United, and that might act as a very huge boost for us in this season or in this semi-final against Brighton. So I believe Rashford will lead the line and Martial might come in through later. Then Rashford might be switched off to the left where Sancho is, and Eriksen taken off. Bruno Fernandes draws deep into the double pivot with Casemiro. Then Sabitzer comes on to do the needful into that beautiful game of football. So that's my prediction starting 11 for United. But let's go to the battles we expect. Mitoma versus Aaron Bissaka. It's really going to be a very huge one, by the way, because you expect United to redo the needful and obviously close that area down, because Mitoma is deadly. Mitoma is deadly. The other battle is going to be in between Caicedo, McAllister, that is the midfield of Brighton, Eriksen and Casemiro, Eriksen and Casemiro versus Caicedo and McAllister. It's really going to be so much huge, but I think we can win that midfield battle because Casemiro can do the needful. Then the other one is going to be all about Estupiñán versus Anthony. It's going to be another huge one that you're going to face in there for you. And Danny Welbeck versus Luke Shaw and Lindelof. Is it going to be worth a battle to talk about? I don't really understand. But Marcus Rashford is going to face the central defense of Webster and Dunk. That's really going to be another huge battle to expect in there for you. But Mitoma and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, keep an eye onto that. Then McAllister, Caicedo versus Eriksen and Casemiro is going to be another one to watch. So those are but I've thought of that are really worth a notice or a mention in here for you. But my prediction is going to be 2-1 Manchester United. I see ourselves going in through. I know it's not going to be an easy game, but we can give Brighton a game. We can give them a game. I saw how Arsenal teared them apart, at home, because they capitalized on their chances, and most of the goals Arsenal scored, they hit Brighton on the break. So I think Ten Hag can go that way and obviously hit them on the break, because De Zerbi doesn't believe in really defending. Even when Graham Potter was still there at Brighton, they are not a defending team. They are a totally football playing team. So those are my predictions. I'm calling in for predictions in the comment section below. Tell me your thoughts about this beautiful game of football as Bruno Fernandes starts and Marcus Rashford starts. I sign out for now. See you later. May the Lord bless you abundantly. Welcome back from AD, my Muslim friends who never even invited me for pilau and meat. All right, I'm out. See you later.